Hello everyone, this is James here for the Let's Get Ready to Rumble podcast. We're here with the man that is Billy Rumbol. Bill, how are you today, mate?
Yeah, no, all good, James. Bored. I am bored. I've got to say, it's getting worse and worse, the boredom. But like I would say, we're all doing it. So what can we do? But yeah, I'm good, but bored.
you got bored of FIFA now because I see you got FIFA last week.
No, I've been playing it. I'm doing quite well actually. I'm Gillingham.
Oh, very nice, local boy.
I don't give myself any more than a couple of hours on that a day because even that would drive me crazy. So I'll get on there in the morning, have a couple of little games, and then I'm done.
You're gonna have to get yourself some more games or something, Bill, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not much of a computer man, to be honest. So I can't wait for this quarantine to be over because I've never really played a computer in my life.
No.
You had to tell me how to download Skype.
Exactly. But yeah, so today, Bill, we thought we'd do a bit of a different one because it's a surprisingly, something we haven't done yet, which is to go in depth with you to talk about your career because you've been in boxing all of your life from being a baby to where you are now. So I think there's a big story behind it all, and a lot of people would, you've told me a lot of stories over the years, and I think a lot of people would really enjoy to get to know a bit more about Billy Rumbol. So that's the plan today, eh?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it's, we've done a lot of talking, but usually about other fights and fighters, but never really much about my career because obviously I'll play a role of a coach now, so not too much of my boxing. So yeah, it'd be quite good and interesting for some people to watch, I'm sure.
That's it. So getting straight into it, Bill, you've been in boxing all your life. Obviously, your dad's a boxing man. He ran St Mary's for a lot of years before Rumbles. What sort of age was it you first recall going into a boxing gym?
Well, I obviously don't remember this, but I've seen photos and I've actually seen some video clips of myself. Around about 18 months, I first walked into a boxing gym, sort of punching the bags and running around and stuff like that. And to be honest, boxing's the only thing I've ever known, really, James. You know what I mean? Listen, I've done plenty of other things, but boxing's the only thing I've ever loved and really enjoyed doing. So it's just been a part of me for as long as I can remember.
Yeah, 100%. And your dad, was it St Mary's at the time your dad was running?
Yeah, he ran St Mary's for about 30 odd years. My dad was from South East London originally, and then when they moved down to Kent, my brother started boxing, and they just asked my dad to become a coach back then, and then he ended up taking over the gym, and he was there for about 30 odd years. So.
Oh wow! So yeah, you was brought up in the gym, a bit like Rocco is today, Bill. Brought up around the boxing gym. See him knocking on the bags at a young old age.
Yeah, that's it. It's in the blood, really. And listen, whether Rocco goes on to be a boxer or whether he doesn't, he does a little bit of football already as well. But it's always good to know how to hold your hands up, and especially this day and age, and a bit of self-defence if ever needed. Not that I say like about violence and stuff, but it's always good in this day and age to be able to defend yourself. So
that's it, and look after yourself. That's what it's all about. So there's this video of you, Bill. We'll have to put a link of it in the description on your Instagram that you posted up when you was younger. You was a bit of a prodigy in the boxing gym, weren't you?
Yeah, no. Do you know what? Like, because I was in the gym from such a young age, people was tipping me to do like big things and like big names in the sport as well. There was a guy, and God rest his soul, he passed away now, called Bobby Paget. I don't know if you heard of him, but he was a big boxing coach and a big boxing name in his day. And that was actually recorded at his gym, and he actually spoke about me on that as well. And sort of my idol growing up, he was sort of big around in the 90s as well, was Prince Nazim Hamid. I always sort of based myself on him. I used to drop my hands down, stick my chin out, do a little bit of a shuffle, and people would say, like, I'd never seen a kid move like that at the age of 6, 7, do you know what I mean? And
yeah,
I think what it was, I was tipped to do big things, but I think because I was in the gym from too young, by the time I could actually do it, I was sort of bored of it already, if that makes sense. Although I've always loved it and I always will, you sort of get to that point where you sort of hit a brick wall sometimes.
Yeah.
And maybe that was my problem. I was maybe have been in the gym too young. So
get a bit burnt out is maybe a word for it. You train hard a lot of years, and sometimes you need that bit of break, and where you might lose a bit of passion for the sport, and you need to find a way to gain it back, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. You burn yourself out a little bit. So.
But yeah, you obviously you had this video of yourself as an amateur, and then that was when you was, I think it was about 5 or 6 when it built that video, about 6 years before your first fight.
Yeah.
And what age did you have your first amateur fight at?
Well, back then, things called gym shows was really big and popular. So basically, a gym show is there's no winner or loser, and you haven't actually got a medical card, so like a license to box.
Okay.
But they do gym show like exhibition bouts.
Okay.
So my first exhibition bout was when I was 7. It was at a gym called Bellhurst Park in Essex, and I boxed a boy there that was a couple of years older than me. It was a travelling boy called Billy Buckland.
Okay.
And Billy Buckland went on to box at the Repton. Obviously, everyone's heard of the Repton, and went on to win numerous national titles and become a top kid. But me and Billy had a top bout that day. I was 7 and he was about 9, but we was really good for our ages, and we ended up getting the best bout of the day. And I'll never forget it. I still got it in my dad's garage. I got a massive. We both got a massive trophy each for the best bout of the day, and that was my first time actually. Although there was no winner or loser, like competitive sort of bout against someone from another gym. So
wow.
That stick with me. That was 21 years ago now, and I still remember it like it was yesterday.
And to say the least, Bill, you started as you meant to go on. You started off with a bang, and your whole career it's been pretty. You've been living the high points in the career, to say the least. You've done a lot as an amateur, as we're going to go on to, and as as a pro, you've done some big things as a pro in your 2 fights, and now as a coach, you're doing big things too. Yeah,
that's it. To be honest with you, if I'm honest, and I'll probably beat myself up about it every day, I didn't succeed as much as an amateur as I should have done. And that was just purely down to me, lack of dedication, like I say, being in the gym from a young age. Like what I'm trying to say is the likes of Anthony Fowler, like your Josh Kellys and boys like that, all went on to go to the Olympic Games, and they was about when I was boxing.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm not just saying it. I had just as much as ability as them, but the thing that got them there is they probably worked a little bit harder and done what they should have been doing when I wasn't. And we'll go on to like that later on in the podcast. But yeah, I represented my country as an amateur and things like that. But I underachieved to what I should have done. And I know that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is what it is. You can't go back. You can't, and that's why I'm so strict now as a coach, really, because I know what I did wrong myself, and I don't want my fighters to make the same mistake. So I suppose that's what will make me a good coach, and hopefully I'll carry on churning out champions that way. That's
it. Teaching people, like, we all make some mistakes. Sometimes we don't take the points that we wish we'd have taken, but that's the point of a coach. I was looking, I can't remember whose profile I see it on, but it's like all the sort of things that a boxing coach is. They're a mentor, a life coach, a psychologist. I can't think. I saw it on one of the boys.
Tyrone tagged me in something like that before, I think.
Yeah. It might have been Tyrone's post, but that's literally it, because you're translating all your sort of life lessons from inside and outside of boxing to your boxers at the end of the day, and you're helping them to do the things that you wish you could have done to go on and achieve, because that's what a good coach does.
Yeah, exactly that. And even as a pro, like I originally turned over, and my trainer was a man called Terry Coulter.
Okay.
And Terry was on live with Steve Goodwin last night at 7:00.
Oh yeah.
Terry was a great coach, and he trained not only boxing, but he trained MMA as well at the highest level. A guy called Lee Murray, who fought out in Vegas and everything, and Terry was a great coach. And he tipped me to. He said, "Look, if you don't win a British title as a pro, something's up." But even then, I was stupid myself. I only had 2 fights. Although I trained really hard as a pro, I cut no corners. I just packed up. And people ask me now, what was the reason of you packing up? Why did you pack up? And to be honest with you, I ain't really got any answers for them. I don't know why. And it's just, they're the things now, like, you kick yourself about. And I know even this morning, James, I sat in like brushing my teeth or whatever in the bathroom and getting myself ready, and it just comes across your mind at the most random times, and I just thought, you know what, I'm 29 this year, 30 next birthday, and it's so true. You never get them years back, and I just wish it's quite emotional, really. You know, like it's quite sad because you at the time you don't realise, and people say to you, "Oh, you're only young once," blah blah blah, and you're like, yeah, but it creeps up on you. And like I say, just a random time like this morning come across me, and I thought, I'm 30, like 30 in about a year, and you don't get them times back. Time waits for no man. So
nice.
all I'd say to all them young fighters out there at the minute that are boxing or haven't taken it up and want to take it up, just give your whole heart to it, like 110%, and just give everything you can to it, because when it's over, and it's you do kick yourself.
Yeah, it's it's like I was sort of like how I was talking with James, because some people, they don't necessarily put what they, like you're saying, what you wish you could put in, and then sometimes when you do, you're training hard, you end up having a short career, and it shows how short a boxing career can be at the end of the day, and that's what James was saying the other day when he was talking with Mark Tibbs. It's about boxing. It's a short-lived career at the end of the day, and you want to prolong your career as much as possible to look after yourself financially and to reach the aspirations you want to. You want to give longevity to your career, don't you?
Of course you do, yeah. Look, and especially in the boxing game, it's a contact sport, so you want to have longevity in the career. Make as much money as you can, and invest in that money as well, because it's easily spent. And I feel sorry for some of the boxers at the moment, in this period in quarantine and lockdown and stuff, that they've had fights planned and they're not getting any younger. Do you know what I mean? And
exactly.
they might go back into camp now. They might get an injury, a hand injury, a leg injury, whatever, and that puts them out. So they could lose about, if they're getting injured after this, they could lose up to a year, 18 months on their career, and for some that could be the end. So it's hard work.
And you look at it as well, especially with boxers who box full time thanks to sponsors and that. You look at how the economy is going, and obviously a lack of fights. That's their main source of income at the end of the day. And boxing is a hard game to earn money from, especially in the small hall show side of things. So
it's
boxers,
a hard sport. Yeah, it's a hard sport, and you've got Rishi Sunak, the Chancellor, saying that we're going to lose about 35% of our economy. But if this lockdown goes on too long, so it could be very testing times. But hopefully, it won't be too much long, and we can all get back on our feet.
Hopefully, I think it's about 3 weeks. They're saying from Thursday they're going to do another 3 weeks of this lockdown. But then hopefully after that, I was watching a video about it. A guy who was an ex-director of the World Health Organization, and he was saying that to start gradually rolling things out again, start slowly putting society back to normality again. Hopefully by let's say August time, that society can be back fully running. But please God. But yeah, back to the amateur days, Bill. So obviously you've had your first exhibition bout at the age of 7. Yeah. When did you have your actual first competitive bout as an amateur?
So back then, now you're allowed to box at the age of 10, but back then it was the age of 11.
Yeah.
So I was 11 years of age. Yeah, 11. I was. It was in October the 10th. 2002.
Yeah, and that was a win.
That was a win. Yeah, I beat a boy from Marbles Lane there called Thomas Horgan. He was from South East London. I later went on to box Tom again in the championships, and I beat him again. I boxed him twice. I beat him twice, but the first time I beat him, my first fight was at the St George Hotel in Chatham.
Okay.
Because that's where I'm from originally, and St Mary's was in Chatham as well. And they actually had to stop turning people away from the door because everybody was there, jam-packed, wanted to see. Obviously, I'd come through the ranks and everyone wanted to see my first fight. And 11-year-old kid sold the place out, and they were turning people away from the door. And that's the God's honest truth. It was packed.
It seems to be a bit of a trend throughout your career, Bill. You've told me about, obviously, as an amateur, you had a lot of people following you. Your pro career, your 2 pro fights, you had like 300 odd people come to it. You had 300 people to come watch you fight Marty Kays. You're a very well followed boxer, to say the least.
Yeah, a lot of it. Yeah, I've always done well with support and that, but I suppose it's just because my dad's run the gym and like Yeah, I just knew I've always got on with people. I've been known as a people's person all my life, and even the school teachers used to say it. People I've worked with, so I've always had that sort of trait. Do you know what I mean? So
That's it. So you've had your first amateur fight. So what did you end up going to do in the amateurs from there? You started competing competitively. What did you go on to do as an amateur?
yeah, so I won the schoolboys as an amateur. Then I got to a junior ABA semi-final. Then I won the junior ABAs. I boxed for England 3 times, and I won the HSK Box Cup out in Denmark. So overall, it wasn't too bad in 34 fights that I had.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I should have had loads more fights than 34 fights. The only reason I didn't was because I was always in and out of the gym, really. And I should have gone on to win a lot more. I should have been going to things like Europeans, World Championships, maybe. And this might sound stupid, but I could have even gone to the Olympics if I'd have stuck my head to the game 100%. But just because lack of dedication, I didn't, and it was only down to me. But
yeah. What did you say? What did you think? You say it was going on at the time. That caused that sort of lack of dedication. Was it just outside distractions? You're a 13-year-old kid.
Me, because I've always I've been around a lot of people, and like I say, quite popular, if you like. I was always worried a lot about what was going on when my mates was what my mates was doing, and what they was doing on the weekends, and blah blah blah. And, when you're young, you want to be out with young girls and stuff like that, didn't you? But just stupid things, and the thing is, my dad was my coach as well. The best coach you could ever ask for, knows everything about the game inside out, and I've learned everything I know off of him. But as you know, sometimes the father and son thing don't work, and when they're your trainer and you live with them and you have the slightest little argument, I'm packing up boxing, I don't want to box no more, blah 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 blah, and then you know what I mean. So it was just silly things like that, James, and that just stalled my career really.
Yeah. But you say obviously you box for England, and in your time, I know you're quite a well-connected person in boxing. You've boxed with some big names for England, to say the least, didn't you, Bill? Could you give us a few names? Are you boxing for England?
Yeah, so my roommates up there used to be Danny and John Dignam. So John don't box anymore, but great fighter. Won the senior ABAs. Danny obviously is pro now. He won the senior ABAs and he's the WBO European champion. Used to be my sparring partners, and we boxed for England together. Charlie Hoy, who's another top fighter, he was one of my roommates up at Crystal Palace at the England squad. Great fighter as well. I had Jeff Saunders, I don't know if you know Jeff, but he's pro now, currently undefeated. Really, really good fighter. I had Seamus Macklin, who originally, it was MGM when he had it, but he was one of the head coaches. We boxed for England against Ireland together with Seamus. Loads of names over the years that I've seen go through, and there's been so much talent, whether it be at schoolboy level, junior level, senior elite level. I've just seen them all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I seen James DeGale win his first national title. It's just the names and the list. I could go on and on and on.
Well.
Right.
Josh Kelly's another one. I remember you telling me he was a friend of yours back in amateur days as well.
Yeah, Josh. Yeah, I still I don't talk to Josh a lot now, but still he like my posts, and sometimes we might send the odd message on Instagram and stuff like that. So he's a lovely kid as well, Josh.
Yeah, and another person, obviously, we see you talk a lot about. I don't know if it was in your England days, but another well-known person you talk with a lot, Ben Davison. How did you come to know Ben?
No, do you know what? I don't know. I don't. Ben used to box for the Hoddesdon, but I don't think he had too many bouts. I was told he only had about 4 or 5 bouts. To be honest, I think the way that me and Ben started talking, I know Billy Joe. I've known Billy Joe all through his amateur career. But I think because Ben's a young coach like myself, I think that's how we started interacting with each other.
Yeah.
And then from there, just become I'll go to Ben for a lot of advice on coaching sometimes, and he's very forthcoming with it. He's very good like that, and we just catch up occasionally. Do you know what I mean? But I never knew him through the boxing days. I knew Billy Joe, but I don't think Ben started boxing until late, and I don't believe he had too many bouts. I might be wrong, but I was told he had about 4 or 5 of it. But he might correct me on that.
Oh, nice. And you're saying now, obviously, you know Billy Joe. How was it you come to know Billy Joe?
just boxing's a small community. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was in the championships that I used to be in, but he was a couple of years older than me. And I remember watching him in the schoolboys, the NABCs, the junior ABAs, and just things like that. And just everybody sort of knew everybody in the boxing world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, you had your 34 amateur bouts, Bill. So in the end, how many of them did you win?
28.
28. So pretty good record there, Bill. You know, you won a good lot of fights.
Good record, and to be honest with you, James, like I was robbed in some of them as well. Like every amateur boxer is everyone does. Like I boxed a Repton kid one year in the semi-finals of schoolboys. He went on to beat Amir Khan's brother in the final.
Wow.
And 6-5 they give it. It was in East End of London where Repton is, and they give it 6 points to 5 to him. And I should have won it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did win it, but that's just politics of the boxing game. Yeah, it happened. And then he went on to beat, as I say, Amir Khan's brother Haroon in the final, which I was gutted about. And to be honest, that was a big setback for me. I know, like, only kids and stuff like that, but had I won that title that year, that would have been my first year in the schoolboys, and then went on to beat Haroon Khan. I reckon I would have had a totally different outlook on things. But after that fight, I think that was February, March. That fight, I was out the gym then until about August, September.
Oh wow!
The only reason I went back in the gym is I got a phone call from the England boxing selection, Ernie Harris, and he selected me to box for England.
Oh wow!
To be honest with you, I had to lose about 7 kilos. I was 13. I had to lose about 7 kilos to get back down to the weight, and that's the only reason I sort of come back. Really, I lost all heart in the game. Then obviously I boxed for England, representing the country, and then I was buzzing. Do you know what I mean? That lifted me back up, and that's what got me back on the horse, so to speak.
Would you say representing England was probably the proudest moment of your amateur career, Bill?
Yeah, definitely. Putting that England vest on, singing your national anthem, being with your teammates, and that's definitely a proud moment, 100%.
Yeah. So when did you have your last amateur bout then, Bill? How old was you when you had your last one?
I was 17, maybe. I think I was 17 or 18, James.
Yeah.
I was 17 or 18. I boxed a real top kid, a really, really good kid. I think he ended up going in prison, actually. But his name was Josh Williamson from Launceston, down in the Western Country.
Okay.
And at the time, about 3 weeks before I boxed him, he boxed Ian Weaver. Ian Weaver's a great fighter on the GB squad, just missed out on the Olympics, and he lost to Ian Weaver 11 points to 10. So it proved how good he was. And my dad, to be honest, my dad didn't actually want the bout with me because it wasn't a championship. It was only a club show. He was like, it's a risky fight to take with like little reward. And I was like, no, let me box him. I want to box him. There's like the type of kids I want to box. And I got in there and I beat him. I beat him comfortable, and that was my last time. Again, I would have gone on to win. Like I beat him, one of the best kids in the country. Everyone was bugging about it. And then after that, I just packed up for 4 years.
What do you reckon the reason was that you packed up for 4 years after that? Again, just being an 18-year-old lad, want to live life a bit.
Yeah, found out what beer was, James. Just honestly, stupid. Like everything I tell kids not to do now is what I've done. Do you know what I mean? I thought being in a pub on a Saturday afternoon, not even old enough to be drinking, but we found a little pub in Chatham where we could all get served and that. Get in there, put the jukebox on and have a few beers. I thought I was the man. And little did I know what I was missing out on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So you said then you had 4 years out of the sport. What was you doing in them 4 years between when you done that and then went over as a pro?
Drinking and eating. Literally, I thought I was a man before I was. You know what I mean? Like I say, we found a pub. We had a good group of mates in Chatham, and we used to go to a pub called what was it called? The Queen Shot. No, was it Queen Shot? Or something, anyway. We found a pub in Chatham, and we used to go there. We used to go to the cafe every Saturday morning. Obviously, I was working, but I worked Monday to Friday. Every Saturday morning, we used to go to the cafe, fill our stomachs up, and get in the pub for about 12:30. And I probably used to fall out of the pub about 10 o'clock at night, go home and go to bed. And I thought that was clever.
Thought that was life?
Because I weren't old enough, I thought, we're getting served around Madrid. I thought I was a man, do you know what I mean? And then you look back on it now and you think, well, how clever was it really? But
yeah.
it's too...
Yeah. So what was you doing for work at the time, Bill? Because obviously, you know, you wasn't doing your coaching at the time. What was you doing with life at the time then?
Do you know what? Then I was just in and out. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, James, and I was doing a bit of tarmacking, a bit of roofing, done a bit of fencing, just labouring jobs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just listen. I've never been out of work. Anything that's always earned me a few quid, I do. And as long as I was getting a few quid at every week, end of every week in my pocket, I was happy. And so just in and out of jobs, bit of roofing, tarmacking, anything like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So you know, you have 4 years out of the boxing. What was the reason to come back and turn over as a pro instead of going back into the amateurs?
Just regrets, really. And the thing is, I've always been very money motivated. So I knew that going back as an amateur, it was too late to do anything like go to the Olympics or anything like that, because obviously all them fighters have been like well more experienced, and I was down the pecking order. So I just knew if I went pro, then I could sell a good ticket, and I was gonna get a bit of money for it as well.
Yeah.
So that was my decision, really.
Yeah. And who was he? What was the name of the fella you was training with again when you turned over to pro?
Terry Coulter.
Terry Coulter, that was it. And you turned over with Miranda Carter.
Miranda Carter. She's not about anymore, but to be honest with you, she was good at what she'd done. Like if there was a big show to get you on, she'd get you on a match show. Or like after my professional debut, I was due to go and fight on a Mick Hennessy show. Mick Hennessy got in contact with Miranda Carter and asked me to box on their show.
Oh, wow.
It would have been 2 weeks before my second pro fight, Miranda's show, and I'd already been cut at my debut.
Yeah.
So just so I didn't get an injury or it stopped me from boxing on Miranda's, we decided not to. But she was really good. Like she could have got me on all the big shows as well. And anything over 100 tickets that I sold, she'd give me 100% of the ticket money. Yeah. She was an absolute diamond. You'd never get that now. But she was a good lady. I still keep in contact with her. I still got her on Instagram, and she backed a horse the other week that won, and she tagged me in it, Ready to Rumble. She went to the horse racing. It was called Ready to Rumble. And
wow!
That one, I missed that, but I think it was quite big odds as well.
Oh wow! Yeah. How was it you come to sign with her? How did you come to sign a promotional deal with Miranda?
It was all down to Terry, really. Like Terry had always been in a pro game, and he had a chat with a few promoters and said like, this is what I could do, blah 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 blah. And he got all the emails. He was the one that done it, and she basically sent back the best deal. And at the end of the day, you're in it to make a bit of money. So if she was going to give us the best money, that's where we was going. So.
That's it. So you had your first pro fight against Ibra Riaz. We see him the other week as well. Talking of Ibra, he's just retired as well, isn't he?
Yeah, so I heard. I think you told me that. Yeah.
He's retired now. But yeah, you had your debut and it was on the undercard. I think of Hughie Fury, Dorian Dutch, wasn't it?
Yeah, Hughie Fury. Do you know what? It was. They actually named that show after me. It was called Sunday Rumble, and but Hughie Fury only got added to that bill on that week, like on the fight week, which was good because when he got announced, like the tickets started to fly even more.
Yeah.
Me and Hughie shared a dressing room on that night with Tyson.
Yeah.
And all that. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got that infamous picture of yourself and Tyson that night, haven't you?
Don't even look like me now, does it?
No. Well, the hair's a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got a bit more for a Tyson look, ain't you?
I've gone for a David Beckham look.
But yeah, so you turned over, you had your fight against Ibra. How did you find that first pro fight?
Yeah, it was tough. Like, as I say, I'd had about 4.5, 5 years out of the ring. Hadn't done anything but spar. I trained really, really hard for the fight. But, fucking hell, he was a tough fella. Like, I hit him with everything. And it was stupid because now, like I say, everything I tell my fighters not to do, don't go out there and try and knock a journeyman out. You know what I mean? They're going to take everything, just pick your shots, be smart. But selling 300 and odd tickets at your call, and the show's named after you, 21-year-old boy or man, it was hard to control me, you know what I mean? So I was just trying to whip him in. He was just walking through him, and he does things like, shouts.
Yeah, he starts beating his chest, doesn't he?
His chest and that, and that like, you think, fucking hell. And, but it was really tough. I got the win, suffered a cut in the last round, in the fourth round, but got the win, and it was a great experience. Between that and boxing for England, I'd say are the best days of my life in boxing for me personally, you know.
Yeah. And then obviously you had your next fight, which was against Joe Beeden, which was a couple months later, and that was a Sky Sports show, wasn't it, Bill?
Sky Sports was there. They actually come to do a little bit on me and Lerone Richards.
Yeah.
And so there used to be a program on a Thursday night called Ringside. Do you remember that?
I do remember it. Yeah, it's the one where they was in the boxing gym and that, weren't they? And they was sitting down.
So they come basically, especially for me and Lerone Richards. And on the Thursday night, they used to do like a thing called Prospect of the Week or Ones to Watch or something like that. And me and Lerone featured in that part of the programme. Oh,
wow. You have to see if you can dig out the video from that, Bill, sometime, if you know
I would have it. It'd be at my mum and dad's house. A lot of my boxing stuff's at my mum and dad's house in the garage. So, I when I go round there, you'll find me in the garage for a few hours, digging out bits and pieces.
Perhaps it's a task for lockdown, Bill. You can get them to open up the garage for you, keep their 2 metres away, and you go in there for a couple of hours and find all your stuff, eh?
Yeah, all my trophies and that and stuff like that are in their loft, and a lot of my boxing, because it used to be videos then, it weren't even DVDs, video cassettes, and so all my fights are on video player.
Oh wow! God, you're gonna have to find yourself a video player to play it on then, eh?
Well, no, do you know what? The Eric guy, the video man, I think you've met Eric. He still does the shows now. If you give him all the dates of the fights that you had, he's still got them in his house, and he'll transfer them onto a DVD for you. So I've got to get round to doing that as well.
Yeah, 100%. So you had your 2 fights, Ibra and Joe Beeden. Did you have a third one planned, or was it literally, just?
Yeah, I had a third one planned, but I ended up packing up. I don't know why. Just
what was going on in your life at the time? What was you up to?
Yeah, no, that was the thing. That was probably it, really. I was an estate agent working full time, and basically what it was, James, when I was pro, I'd be getting up at like 5:30 in the morning, go out and do my run, come back, get ready for work, go to work until 6 o'clock in the evening, so like 8:30 until 6 was the hours of work, then basically had my dinner just before I left the office, like a little meal prep thing, and then drive to the gym, go home, have a shower, go to sleep. And it was like that every day. And estate agency was quite a stressful job, like mentally. Boxing's obviously hard physically. All the dieting and having time to see your family and friends as well. It just wasn't working.
Yeah.
And I had to get a couple of full-time sponsors. I had sponsors at the time, but they wasn't full-time. And back then, they wasn't really that popular. It's only really lately they've become quite popular. Yeah. And I couldn't need full-time sponsors, so I just had to... I had to knock it on the head, really. So
yeah.
It was a shame, but one of them things.
It's a shame, but yeah. So you went on. You had quite a few years, obviously, out of the sport. Obviously, you was in estate agency, as you said. You was doing very well in that. You was the youngest branch manager, weren't you, Bill?
Yeah, youngest branch manager across about 300 odd branches for your move. So
wow.
Yeah, so I done well there. Like everything I do, I'll always give it 100% for when I'm doing it, but with boxing, I gave it 100% when I was doing it, but then I'd sort of be in and out of it. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
I'm a hard worker at what I do.
So obviously you was doing a estate agency. What sort of age was it you started getting into the coaching side of things? Because obviously you started coaching in the evenings and at weekends, didn't you?
So I coached before I become an estate agent. So this is at when, and I had a kid called Joe Smith.
Okay.
And Joe was a tremendous talent, and I ended up getting Joe to 2 national finals. I got him to the national finals of the schoolboys, and he boxed. He's a pro now of MTK from Bury, Amir Khan's old gym. Iqbal.
Okay.
Good kid, and he's an undefeated pro now. And Joe narrowly lost out to him, and then I got Joe to the junior ABA final up in Yorkshire. Like, Joe was a real good talent, really tall.
Yeah.
But I only trained him, although it was an amateur gym. It was just like 1-on-1 with me and Joe.
Yeah.
And then Joe just went on to like sort of pack up, and then I drifted away from it.
Yeah.
And then that was it. Then I didn't do any more coaching. And then what happened? I wasn't a coach at all. I was an estate agent, and my brother and dad was like running a gym at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they both went on holiday together to Turkey. So they said to me, "Would you just mind running the gym while we're away?" And I said, "Nah." And one of the kids at the time, he was getting ready for the Arengay Box Cup, was Martin Madonna. And so I just watched Martin and spar. And he was sparring a kid called Lewis Payne, and I just told Martin like what to do, give him a little bit of advice, and he listened straight away. And I thought, oh yeah, like I quite like this kid. So after he sparred, I said, like, leave your gloves on, I'll give you a few on the pads. I'll give him a few on the pads, and I've still got the video now. I think it's on my Instagram, the first video I ever had on the pads of him. And literally, we just clicked from there.
Yeah.
And then I ended up staying in the gym. My brother was training him at the time. I ended up starting to train Martin, and then took him onto the Arengay Box Cup from there. And then we just clicked from there.
That's it. And the rest is history. You had a very big.
And then we just went on from there. So I was coaching for ages whilst I was an estate agent, but obviously just the amateurs. And then what I started to do a few one-to-ones on my day off and after work and at weekends, and then basically decided to do it full time.
Yeah. So what was it that what was the sort of trigger in your mind to make you think, right, New Year, you started at the start of 2018. What was the sort of trigger moment to think, yeah, I'm going to go and try this full time?
It's just something that I loved, and to be honest with you, I was doing it on a Tuesday night. I was doing it on a Friday on my day off, and I was doing it on a Sunday morning. And the money I was making in those 3 days, James, was good money. Do you know what I mean? Considering I was only doing it on the side. And then what happened was I started to have to turn away quite a lot of business because obviously I was only doing it set days, so I couldn't get everyone in. And I sat down. It was over Christmas. We had Rocco in the October, November, December. So over Christmas, I sat down with Zoe. I had a bit of time off work, and sort of worked out the lessons that I'd cancelled, what I could have made and what I am making. And I'd said, do you know what? I said, listen, I'm going to give it a go full time. And she always backed me 100%. It was just my mum and dad was a bit like, you've got your house now, you've got the baby, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, what I thought is, well, I can always go back to a estate agency. I've got something always to fall back on. Yeah. But if you don't try it, you'll never know. And that was basically it. And I just went with it and touch wood. It's running. It's been running like a dream, really. So
yeah, you've had an amazing. It's 3 years now. You've been doing it full time, haven't you? It's been some ride.
Yes, I've been doing it for 3 years, but I went full time. About 2.5 years ago, I went full time.
Yeah. So you obviously you're doing the one-to-ones now with people helping keep fit. You're doing the semi-pro boxers. Obviously, you've got the amateur stable, which is a very successful one, and obviously you've got the pro side of things. So when was your first sort of pro box that you worked with? Was Martin your first pro boxer, or did you work with anyone before that?
I had a kid called Zeki Hussein, but to be honest, he was the first pro I had, but he was sort of only like he worked like full time, and he was only doing it to say he sort of done it. Do you know what I mean? He was getting on a bit. So my first proper pro was Martin Madonna. Was mine. And then I went on to have Bradley, James Hawley, Bradley Axel, Jack Eubank, Neil Barry. Obviously, so we've had a good success at that as well.
Yeah, we've had something like about 20. Is it about 20 professional fights now for the stable?
22 and 22 outings, 21 wins.
Yeah, so only one loss at the end of the day, and that one loss, I don't think of that one loss as a loss really, because it was, it was such a great account that was given on that night with Martin against, Danny, and it was it's a big risk that was taken, but you don't get far in life without taking risks, do you?
No, of course you don't. No, he done himself proud, like you say. It was more rather than a loss. It was a good learning curve.
Yeah. How did that fight come around, Bill? Because it's a bit of an interesting story about how that fight come around, wasn't it?
What? Dark Arm Martin?
Yeah, Dark Arm Martin.
Yeah, so basically, Martin was due to fight on that same bill against Scott Moises on the same night in the home corner. Basically, we accepted the fight, blah, 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 blah. And then I got a call from Martin's promoter to say, can Martin do 100 tickets on a Friday night at your call? And my answer was no, because realistically, where Martin lives and where he works, where people work on a Friday, people wouldn't have made it in time, so I just said no. So his promoter said, well, I'm going to have to pull him off the show then. So, all right, fair enough. So then I had to have a conversation with Martin's promoter and manager and say, well, if this is going to be the case, we're going to have to get Martin into, you know, a 50-50 fight maybe, because this kid is not going to earn any money, and obviously we want to see where he can go with his pro career. So obviously he took that in mind. I didn't hear anything. I then went to Cyprus last May, and I got a call whilst I was out in Cyprus on holiday from his manager offering me the Darko fight. So I finished dinner, I went back to the room, got my laptop out, got some videos up of Darko, watched a couple. I should have been on holiday, but I couldn't rest until I'd done this. Yeah. And I genuinely believed, I knew Darko was a good puncher, I knew he was strong, but I knew the amateur pedigree that Martin had, and I really thought that Martin could get the win. Although I knew it'd be tough, obviously I've asked for 50-50 fight, so it was always going to be tough. Yeah. So I accepted the fight, and I know a lot of people turned that fight down, like some pros that are 15-0, unbeaten pros. Martin stepped up to the plate, and that's how the fight got made, to be honest.
Yeah, obviously, you know, the fight was it was an interesting build up. You had a very well viewed video of yourself and Danny having a bit of an altercation. 40,000 views on iPhone TV. very well viewed video, but you know, it was good. It was amazing, obviously, for the profile of the gym. Martin's stock rose dramatically from that fight. You know, a lot of people realise that Martin belongs on those levels with top fighters. And like yourself, a lot of people obviously, you know, not that they weren't taking note of you anyway, but I remember you telling me you had quite a few people who was, you know, interested in coming with you as a pro, like with that fight and the profile they had as well, wasn't it, Bill?
Yeah, like do you know, like I got the game plan right on the night, but I just thought I sort of underestimated Darko's fitness and stamina, and I thought because he was muscle bound, usually a lot of muscle bound fighters sort of gas out mid to late rounds, and I genuinely, honestly thought that's what Darko would do, but he didn't. He surprised me. He was very fit, and if anything, he came on stronger. But that's part of boxing. Listen, there has to be a winner or a loser, and as long as you walk out of that fight, you know what went wrong and you know what to put right next time. Then, in my eyes, that's as good as it gets. Listen, there's world-class football managers that get the game plan wrong from 1 week to the next. But what they'll do is they'll go back and they'll evaluate that situation and they'll get it right the next week. And that's what I think as a coach. If you can sit down and realise where you went wrong, other than blame other people, then you're doing the right job. If you walk away from it and you're blaming other people, then you're doing the wrong job. And that's the way I look at it. So
that's it. 100%. You know, you learn from these things, and obviously you come back stronger. You look how well Martin's performing in these last couple of fights, and he's obviously knocking on the doors once this goes, touch wood, for hopefully a Southern Area title, eliminator, or obviously a shot itself. Fingers crossed, eh?
Yeah, well, looking at him, he may well be looking at a title shot, but that's probably going to be a heavyweight. Looking at the size of him, it wouldn't be a podcast if I didn't give him some stick.
But yeah, heading back to the year before, obviously, you know, you started getting in, obviously, into your gym. You was running it full time, and then you was getting married in October of that year, weren't you, Bill?
Yeah.
And you know, you was originally just having a bit of a training camp to, you know, lose a bit of weight, and then you got a phone call through. Do you want to have a comeback?
Yeah, went a bit like that. So so I got a phone call. A couple of people realised I was back in training, and then they asked if I potentially would be interested in fighting. My question was, how much are you going to pay me? And they offered me come and say hello. They offered me a 50-50 on the ticket sales. So I'd done over 300 and odd tickets, which got me quite a good bit of money for Christmas. So
here he is, the champ. The champ's in the building.
I accepted. Say hello, Rock.
Say hello to the viewers, Rocco.
Say hello. He's just woke
He's getting shy.
Right.
But see you later, Rocco. But it was so yeah, you took that fight. You know, you sold a lot of tickets, and so you originally was meant to fight a guy called who's the guy you was meant to fight?
I forget his name now. He was from Essex. He was quite a tough fella to be honest. But his coach, Joe Taylor, knew me pretty well, and they declined. They didn't want to box me, so which was unfortunate really, because he probably it probably would have been, no disrespect to Marty Case, but probably would have been a more competitive fight.
Yeah.
But they, for some reason or not, they didn't want it. So
yeah, but obviously, because originally it was meant to be a welterweight, your original fight, wasn't it? And then
it was meant to be a welterweight. I panicked a little bit. I probably could have made that easier. I did really. I weighed in about 67 point something on the day, but mid camp I thought I was going to be a little bit heavier, so I changed the weight myself.
Yeah. So yeah, you're fighting at light middleweight. Obviously, you got the call that it was going to be Mighty K's. He's been in with some good names, to be fair, hasn't he? As well. Was it Derry Matthews? He's been in.
He boxed Derry Matthews, Ryan Barrett. Ryan Barrett went on to win a world title as a pro. Listen, Marty don't look much. Don't never judge a book by its cover, is what I always say. He was a bit overweight and maybe coming towards the end of his career, but one tough fella.
Had a hard head, didn't he?
He had a hard head. And I hit him round the body a fair few times. I'm a good body puncher as well, and he stood up to them. So credit where credit's due. He really come for a fight that night, and took me 12 rounds. I believe I won every round, but he was a tough cookie.
And what was that sort of experience of it all? You know, coming back into the game after, was it about 7 years out of the game?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, about 6 years out. It was all right. I like it, but I sort of questioned myself when in the dressing room and that. Well, I thought, what am I doing here again? Got a successful year, as a coach, and got a nice little business, and why have I put myself in this situation? But it was good, like walking out to the crowd, and it was a good buzz and stuff.
Good little ring walk song as well, wasn't it?
It was a good ring walk song. Yeah, that was the one I had as a pro. Ain't no stopping us now. But I much prefer it on the other side of the ropes, if I'm honest. Yeah,
it was good. So I know obviously your dad was in your corner for that, and it was brilliant to see obviously the training you was both putting together, and that sort of transformation of yourself. Because I remember you put a picture up. You was in holiday in Cyprus earlier that year, and then the week before your fight, you looked like literally a different man.
Yeah, no, I lost a lot of weight. I lost over 2 stone for that fight. Like I said, even for that, I trained like a demon. I lost a lot of weight. I took it very seriously. As I said, people was paying a lot of money to come and see me box, so I'd always take it seriously when people were spending money. But I think now, approaching 30, I think them gloves are hung up for good now, and I'm just going to concentrate on bringing the next generation through.
That's it. There was an offer though. I remember you telling me there was an offer to go and fight abroad, weren't there, Bill, to defend the title?
Yeah, there was a few things, but that weren't paying anything, because obviously I wouldn't be selling tickets abroad. I actually got approached by, I won't mention any names, I got approached by a few professional promoters when I was fighting and selling tickets as well, and asking me to come back. But listen, I know they're only interested in the ticket sales, and realistically I was 27 at the time, so it was too late for me to do anything. So
yeah, and I do remember obviously talking still of your career as a boxer. I remember, when was it? It was in the summer last year, and I remember we was having a chat. And obviously, there's the rule where you can actually go back as an amateur, isn't there? And you was talking about going, because there wasn't really many box cups around, was there, back when you was an amateur, and you was wanting to come back for it?
I boxed. I've done one box cup as an amateur, and that was in Denmark, but it was very. That wasn't very popular at the time. But now they are extremely popular. And I've always wanted to do like the Haringey Box Cup, or we went to one in Ireland called the Celtic Box Cup, which was also a good one. Yeah. And I'd like to have a crack at that, but I don't think now it would come off. You never know.
Exactly. So obviously on the side of your training, you've put on a fair few shows in your time of running your business. Your first one, 1st of September 2018. How did that one come around?
Well, basically, I had a guy training in the gym, sort of renting the gym off of us, doing one-to-one sessions, called Ryan Thompson. And obviously, he was training a lot of keep fit fighters, and so was I. And we just decided to sort of have a team match against each other with our boxers. And so that's how that first one come around. We done it for Mind Mental Health Charity, and that was a very successful night. Really good night, and they just went on from there, really.
Yeah. So you had 2 more. You done the Mel's House, and then another Mind one. I think
done the Mel's and then another Mind, and then so they was both charity shows. So I've done 3 charity shows, and then I've done a prize champion show at the back end of last year.
Yeah.
December 7th, was it?
December the 7th, 2019, the magical night.
That was it, December the 7th. And so yeah, I've done 4 shows all in all. Obviously, I would have probably had one by now, but what with everything going on,
supposed to have one
last Sunday. Sorry,
yeah.
But everything going on, it's just everything's come to a stop.
Yeah. How did the idea for Prize Champion come around, Bill? What was the trigger in your mind to say do that? 'Cause I remember I was sitting in the gym one August, and you goes, James, I'm thinking about doing this show. What do you think about doing it? Do you reckon you could get me a poster and see if there's some interest in it? And I was like, yeah, why not? But what was the idea in your head for it?
Just something different. Obviously, Eddie Hearn done it in the pros, and there's Ultimate Fighter now, or Ultimate Boxer now that go around. I just thought it was something different. A good bit of prize money for the winner. Everyone wants to have a bit of money. It was on top of Christmas, so extra bit of money in your pocket for Christmas. So I thought, why not? Let's give it a try and see how it goes. And thankfully, it was very successful.
Yeah, the rest is history. And hopefully, like we were saying in the previous episode, touchwood, once this is out of the way, nice Christmas present to finish off this year might be a middleweight prize fighter, right?
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, if we can get one out of the way this year with the way things are going at the minute, I'll be very grateful. But hopefully we can finish the year on one. Yeah.
Nice. So we put a little post out on your story earlier, Bill, and we got some good questions come through from the Rumble's Massive. So we'll go through some of them now. So the first one comes in from @Aaron Devell. He wants to know, other than boxing, what are your other hobbies?
I used to be well into my fishing in my teenage years, and I stopped going because basically I used to go fishing quite a lot with a fella called Buddy, who was well into his fishing in our school days. Obviously, we left school and sort of just drifted apart and we didn't go anymore.
Yeah.
But then I took it up again last summer, and I really like getting around the lake on a summer's day, couple of beers, catch a few fish and just chilling out. There's no feeling like it. So it's something I'm really, really looking forward to, other than getting back in the gym, is getting around a lake somewhere and spending the night there.
Nice.
So,
Nice. Next question. We've got another one from Aaron. He wants to ask, have you boxed anyone who's now a professional? So what sort of amateur fighters, we sort of touched on it, what amateur fighters well known now have you boxed?
Do you know, not now, like Jeff Saunders is still one of my sparring partners on England. He's still pro now, and he's undefeated in about 12 fights, I think. You got Danny Dignam that I used to be a sparring partner with on England, who's WBO European champion. But no, I don't. Not anyone that I box now is pro. No, no. Martin J. Ward used to be a weight below me, so we didn't end up. We didn't box. I boxed his club mate George Langley. But yeah, no, not now. No one boxing pro that I box now.
Okay, and then
we're getting too old.
And Aaron just wants to ask as well. He wants to ask, what clubs have you boxed for?
So I had 33 fights for St Mary's.
Yeah.
And then I've had one for Rumbol. So I had one for Rumbols when we come to Sittingbourne.
Nice.
I looked at joining Repton at one stage. I went to Repton, didn't end up boxing for them. I went to Eltham, but I didn't end up boxing for Eltham. And I went to Newham, but I didn't end up boxing for them. I couldn't have anyone really train me but my dad.
Yeah.
Tried a few different trainers in a few different gyms, but it never really worked. So yeah, I only boxed for St Mary's and one fight for Rumbles because it was new then. Do you know what I mean? So.
Nice. Next question comes in from the man that is @JamesHawley1999. He wants to ask, Bill, is James Hawley the best looking boxer you have ever trained?
Don't know. Yeah, definitely, yeah. We'll say yeah on that one. He'll love that, won't he?
He'll love it. Next one comes in from our previous guest, Tyrone King. He wants to ask, as an amateur, who was the best person you boxed?
What, so boxer or the strongest?
Let's do both. Let's do both. Who was the strongest and who was the best boxer?
So I boxed a boy from Iraq, but he lived in Denmark now, called Rashid Kazim.
Okay.
And he went pro and he had 12 111 as a pro. He hit like an apple. He was a real big puncher. So strongest wise, Rashid Kazim. Best boxer. I'd have to say it was a boy, European bronze medalist, from Finchley, Joe Winson.
Okay.
And I lost to Joe on a majority decision back then, and that was in the semi-finals of the Junior ABA Championships. But he was a very good technical boxer. As I say, he won a few national titles, and he got a bronze in the Europeans.
Nice. Next one comes in from the amateur star, Zach Fee. He wants to ask, if you could go back, would you have boxed more as a pro and an amateur?
Totally.
100%. 100%.
You're obviously previous in we mentioned that, but yeah, 100%.
Next, we've got Josh Crosswell. He wants to ask, is there a return looming? And if there's a new charity show event, sign me up when all this is over.
We'll sign you up, Josh. And previously mentioned, I don't think there's a return, mate. Never say never, but there won't be a return.
No. And then these two, we'll put them in one. You sort of touched on it with your hardest boxer, but what would you say was the hardest fight you had as an amateur? And that comes from both Jimmy Eason and Alex the Power Cut Palmerton.
Yeah, probably like Rashid Kazim and Joe Winton, to be honest with you. Like I say, Kazim for his punching power and his pressure, and Winton because of Winton was a good puncher, but his speed and accuracy was very good, very clever.
Yeah. Next one, we've got, obviously, Alex, he wants to ask, he's got two more questions. He wants to ask, what would you say the highlight of your whole boxing career was? What's the biggest standout moment of it all?
In my career, boxing for my country and making my pro debut were two of my proudest moments as a boxer, I've got to say.
Nice. And then, who would you say was the best prospect you saw in your journey?
I couldn't say. I've been around Billy Joe, James DeGale, George Groves, Tony Bellew. I couldn't. That's too hard. I've been around all them boys. You know what I mean? I've seen them all box and win national titles. So yeah, I mean personally, for my sort of style, would have been James DeGale and Billy Joe.
Yeah.
I've seen Gavin. I see Anthony Collar win his national titles, but yeah, I'd say Billy Joe and James DeGale for me because they're two southpaws, very slick, and my style of boxing. But yeah, there's been so much talent. So
nice. And next we've got one in from Adam Macker one. He wants to know, just give it as a list. What did you win as an amateur?
Schoolboys, Junior ABAs, Junior ABA final, HSK Box Cup, and Box Ringland. Nice.
And then last one in from Jake Harrison. He wants to know, what's your best memory in boxing?
Best memory.
Best memory or moment in boxing?
Yeah, like I said, really. I mean, there's been so many memories but boxing's the best day of my life. So going away weekends, different countries, up and down the country with your club mates on the minibus. We've had so many memories. But I'd say for me personally, obviously getting that England vest. Getting the England vest has to be the proudest, and singing that national anthem.
Nice.
I didn't know the words, but I felt like I was singing it.
You need to learn it, Bill, didn't you?
God save her, and then I just started mumbling.
You have to, you've got a bit of time on lockdown now, Bill. Perhaps you have to have a little look and recite the words, and your next sing along. You done That's Life about a week ago. Why don't you sing the national anthem for your followers?
You know what? I might do that. Might have to do that.
I'll hold you to it, Bill. All right, that's all the questions, Bill. So before we round off and finish the episode, you got anything you'd like to say or any messages to the viewers?
No. You've obviously been telling me what the stats are. So thanks everyone for subscribing to the YouTube channel and watching our videos. Thank you for all the questions. We're trying to get as many interviews on here as we can for you all in this time. Hopefully a couple of big names coming soon. We're just waiting for them to be finalised.
Just in the pipeline.
And, in the pipeline. And thank you all again.
That's it. So next episode, we was talking about this yesterday, Bill. So Thursday, we're going to be sitting down recording with your dad. So that'll be a very, very interesting episode. Yeah,
that'd be a good one. As I say, he's been around it all, and he's had a lot of good fighters, and he'll have a few stories through as well, I'm sure. So yeah, he's gonna be on Thursday, so that'd be an interesting one.
Lovely. Well, Bill, thanks for joining me on today's episode, mate. And I'm sure we'll catch up soon for another one, eh?
Top man, James. Nice one, mate. I look forward to it.
Take care, Bill. Talk to you later.
See you later. Bye.